Ladies and gentlemen, this is Dustin Perry from Ghost Hunters and Ghost Hunters International, and you are tuned into the Paranormally Zone.
Look, I know the supernatural is something that isn't supposed to happen. It does happen.
A ghostly apparition in the dark of night.
Human sacrifice, dogs and cats living together, mass hysteria.
Hey there, everyone. It's time. It's finally time for our return to the Terminal series. Yes, fellow zoners, it is time. My name is Patrick Koffenberg, and I am joined, as always, by my co-host with the ghosts, the paranormal poster boy himself, the suddenly facial hairless Mike Carbno. And I got to tell you, I'm a little weirded out.
Yeah, I was too.
Now, do you care to explain yourself here before we dive into our terminal topic?
Yeah. Well, first of all, I want to say that it is already growing back. You can't see it on
Thank God.
the camera because it's so, gray and light. But anyway, the other day I was in the bathroom. I was going to trim up my beard. I got those little hand shaver rechargeable. It's got the little guides on them. You can have whatever length you want. So, and I keep my beard fairly trimmed. Well, the other day when I was doing it, I was like, got it all going and everything. And then I put it up to my chin and I go, I didn't have the guide on it.
Oh, man.
The guide was not on there. It took it right down to my skin. It's like this 2-inch wide swath through my poor graying goatee.
Why didn't you should have left it? You should have left that look. You maybe you could have started a new trend.
I did even better. Mary's sitting out in the living room and she has no idea what's going on. I'm in the bathroom. So I shave my chin. So I've got this handlebar mustache all the way down to the bottom of my chin with my little dew fluffy thing there, whatever they call it, under the lip.
Yeah, what? I don't know what that exactly is called.
I like dew fluffy.
Yeah, we'll go with dew fluffy for that right now.
So I had that all, and then the top part of my mustache, I shaved it down from my nose. So it's like a pencil mustache. And then it gets thick on the sides going down my chin. So I come out and Mary's like, she looks at me, we're talking, nothing.
Oh, she didn't even react.
Thing. And I sit down next to her and we're talking, nothing. God. And finally, I was like kind of hinting and giving hints. And then all of a sudden she's like, oh, my God.
What the hell? What the heck? How did she not know? Okay.
I have no idea. Well,
I heard Mary laughing in the background. She has some explaining to do. How did she not notice that? Does she never really look deeply into your eyes? Does she not gaze into your face lovingly?
How did you not notice that I had shaved?
I don't freaking notice things like that.
See, well, everyone
I don't freaking notice things like that. She says.
Yep. No need for me to repeat that either. I mean, that came across clear as day. So
okay.
That'll be good.
She don't freaking know.
Man, I wish you would have taken some photos or something.
Oh, I should have. Why didn't I? Well.
Well, there's a reason to regrow your facial hair just to do the same thing.
And do it again.
And take some photos. Take some photos this time. Post them online. We'll see how that goes. Go. Yeah.
But look at how bad I look without my beard, though. I don't know what I look like.
Well, you look like you without facial hair. That's what you look like without, and
I look like a flesh-toned bowling ball with a face on it.
That's a great idea for a bowling ball. Yeah,
no kidding.
Bridget and I do enjoy going bowling every now and then. It's a rare occasion when we do, but we have a good time. we've talked about getting our own or getting my own personalized bowling ball. Maybe I should get one with your face plastered all over it.
You get that ball rolling down the lane there without a spin on it. And every time it comes around, you see your face coming up.
Exactly. Oh, there's Mike. There's Mike. There's Mike. There's Mike. Wow. Oh, yeah. Oh, man. Well,
anyway,
I hope it grows back quickly.
It will. It does. It does grow back. Okay. And I'm going to grow a full beard first, completely full beard.
Hey, nice.
And then I can do my goatee the way I want it to. So it's might have a little bit more flair to it.
I think you should keep the beard.
Mary won't allow that.
Even for like a day or so. I mean, come on.
Yeah, I don't know.
Are beards still the thing? They still seem to be the thing. I mean, every dude out there has a beard nowadays. It seems.
I know. 8-inch long beards, 10-inch long beards.
Yeah, exactly. So
but not me.
Well, looking forward to the regrowth. So, like I said, I was a little weirded out when you first popped up on my screen. I was like,
you can give updates on there if anybody's interested. Probably not, but that's okay.
Daily photos of your mouth.
Yeah. Yeah. Whose chin is this?
There you go. Yeah, we can make it a game.
Is this Patrick's chin or is it Mike's chin?
Well, I don't know.
There's a lot of difference. There would be no problem there. Anyway, we got a great subject for tonight.
Today it is Saturday afternoon, March 11th. We're making this work. We decided to postpone until today. Lots of reasons. And I figured maybe I should stop posting on Twitter like, hey, we got a great episode tomorrow or something like that, because we always seem to postpone it.
Yeah. Too much comes up.
Yeah, it's not ever planned, but anywho, yeah, I threw this idea towards Mike via text just last night, and you responded to me immediately like, oh yeah, I love that idea. You've always been interested in it. I think it's fitting for the return to our terminal series. We're at the end of the show. We provide our own personal yay or nay, no shades of gray, no straddling the paranormal fence here. We're saying yes, we believe, nay, we do not. This is a good one. We're talking about Valiant Thor. You heard me right. Chances are, if you're a fan of all things weird and mysterious and strange, you've heard of Valiant. That was Valiant Thor barking in the background right now. I think they're all freaked out by Mike's hairless face. They don't recognize him anymore.
No, they never paid attention at all.
I don't know. They seem a little hyper. Who's this strange man in our house?
Yeah, it's the Mishka. She likes to look out the window and.
Well, yeah. There you go. What better thing to do nowadays?
Leaf flying by.
Well, what better thing to do during this massive storm we're getting blasted with again?
Yeah, we're getting hit pretty hard.
I mean, it's not massive, but it's definitely it's heavy. It's a good one.
Well, I looked, and all of North Dakota is in the red. No travel advised everywhere.
And as we were saying briefly before we started recording, North Dakota is fairly flat. In case you aren't familiar, so
you can see a big wall of snow coming at you for 10 miles easily.
Well, you could probably see a relative standing on the opposite side of the state. It's so flat.
Yeah, well, I tell you one time, many years ago, there was a storm coming from the southwest where we get the big ones. And it was late at night, and I was working, but I left work to go out in this open area outside of town where it was dark, no city lights or anything. That's when I lived in Fargo. And I watched a storm come in from miles and miles and miles. I was standing there for, I don't know how long, but watching this, and it was moving fast, and it was coming towards where I was and getting closer and closer, the lightning getting brighter, and then the wind picking up, and it was fantastic. And it had to have been at least 10 miles.
Yeah, I believe it, man. I believe
that I
it.
can see.
I was exaggerating just a little bit, but yeah, you can see nearly as far as the eye can see when it comes to North Dakota. So, not surprising that the roads are shut down, because they are probably glassy, slick, and covered in snowdrifts.
Yep. So. That's the way it is.
Absolutely. We're a little more covered in trees in my neck of the woods. No pun intended there. So It's a little bit easier to travel, but the snow is accumulating. That's for sure. Well, Mike, Valiant Thor, gall darn it. Anyhow, what the hell is going on with this mysterious character? I want to ask you straight up here. How long have you been familiar with this alleged?
Oh boy,
this alleged being. I don't know what else to refer to him as other than a being.
It's an alleged being. Geez. Oh man. I'd say probably the 90s, I would imagine.
Now, before we get into some of the details of it, the story is, I mean, I wouldn't say it's lacking in details, but there's not a lot to it. But
not a lot to find in there.
No. I mean, but it's lasted for 70 years now, damn near 70 years.
Mm-hmm.
For
1957 in Alexandria, Virginia.
Yeah, for those not familiar, Valiant Thor was supposedly an alien. Do we call him a Venetian? He claimed to have been from Venus, who landed along with two other alien beings in a like Mike said there, in a farm in Alexandria. What was the state again, Mike? I'm looking at it right now. I forgot what state.
Alexandria, Virginia, in 1957. Actually, this took place on March 16th, coming up anniversary.
Anniversary, damn near. Yeah, that would be what, 66 years ago, right?
Yeah.
If my
me and math, forget it.
Well, if my second grade math serves me correctly, I think that was 66 years ago. Yeah.
Yeah. But what's interesting is when I was kind of doing some research today, okay, so he had some co-pilots, and you said he had two people.
Right.
I came up onto a article that said that one of his co-pilots was named Ingrid Cole.
Well, we covered Indrid Cold.
Yeah, Indrid Cole, that's what I meant.
Yeah.
But the smiling man.
Exactly.
He's out, like killing people. I mean, then here they're saying that he's one of the co-pilots for Valiant Thor.
I had never heard of that connection ever.
Neither have I. But
that adds a little twist to it. That adds a definite twist to it. That's interesting.
It does.
I thought you were going to say like Ingrid Bergman or something like that at first.
Ingrid, yeah, because I did say Ingrid, yeah.
I was like, what? Wow. I definitely never heard of that one.
Yeah, she thumbed a ride.
Hey.
But yeah, so I don't know. That's something I've never heard before. Definitely needs some more research on that.
Yeah, allegedly this Commander Valiant Thor, or also sometimes referred to as the High Council Valiant Thor, along with two other alien, co-pilots, as Mike said, crash landed. I mean, is it considered a crash landing, even though, as the story goes, they were meant to be here? It kind of made it sound like that they crashed.
A definite mission they were on, yeah. But I did not. Oh man, yeah, that's something I'd have to dig more into.
Maybe perhaps not. Perhaps not. But I know that according to the legend, according to the story, upon this landing in this farmer's field in Alexandria, Virginia, well, naturally, the first to respond were police officers. According to, again, I don't want to say this. I'm going to skip according to the story for the rest of the episode. I'm just going to say it as it is. After they landed, police officers arrived and were spoken to telepathically with this being, Valiant Thor, who, dare I say, demanded, or requested to be taken. It's the cliched line, take me to your leader type thing.
Yep.
I need to speak with your president at the time, Mr. Dwight D.
And
Eisenhower.
Specifically said President
Eisenhower. And, well, what would you do, Mike, if you're a police officer? Would you say, hell no? I think they probably, chances are you probably listen. I mean, I don't know.
Yeah. And I would call the sergeant in charge that evening and say, come here.
Yeah, come here. I got talk about some, a story I got for you, buddy. I don't know why my voice is cracked like there. Holy cow. That was pretty interesting.
Patrick is just reaching puberty.
I am, just now, during the show. It's fun. I tell you.
When your voices change. Peter.
Thanks. Yeah.
On the Brady Bunch. He wrote a song about that.
Yeah.
But anyway.
That was a great rendition. That was a great rendition and a great addition to the show. So
Yes.
now, let's preface this a little bit, Mike. That as longtime listeners know, ding, 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 dingy, ding, ding, we are open-minded as hell when it comes to all things.
Absolutely. Sometimes I'm too much, but
Well, hey, you said it, okay? You said it.
yep, I said it.
But even for us, there are some stories that just stretch the boundaries so much. It's just, where I'm not exactly sure what I think about that one, but we will reveal our final, I guess, answer, our final opinion, final take at the end of the show. Yay or nay, no shades of gray. Now, as you said, go ahead, Mike. Go ahead.
A story like this. Oh no, I lost my train of thought when I was cutting you off.
I lost my train of thought when I was cutting you off.
Yeah,
that's a great tagline for the podcast.
It is. Okay, what I was going to say is that stories like this, they can be so outlandish, but if you can figure out the percentage of that story that you want to take as most likely true, and what might have been added on to it by who knows what, who knows? It's just so hard to tell where that line is, where truth turns into, stretching turns into, well, I didn't know that. And then I didn't know that turns into just outlandish, who knows what.
Fabrication. Outlandish fabrication. You don't
Exactly.
know. I mean, we come from kind of the school of thought that there's always a kernel of truth to all legends, right?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah.
If not more.
And that can pertain to so many things in history and this planet and country. I mean,
100%. And then there's also the notion of kind of hidden in plain sight type thing. It's
absolutely
it's so clear as day. That's kind of their method of hiding it, because it seems to be so obvious that you just kind of overlook it, or it's like, no, that can't be it because it's right there.
That's when they're walking amongst us.
Yeah. Now, Mike just held up a beverage to the screen there. Were you just?
I was looking. It was I'm drinking my apple cherry juice in my St. Patrick's.
I was going to say your green mug.
Yes, it's a month of March.
It is.
St. Patrick's
with the little clover on it. Well,
yes.
There you go. Well, what the hell's in it? Just your Diet Coke?
No, that's my apple cherry juice.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah.
That is correct.
Although I do have a Coke here with me as well.
I thought I saw you chugging on that thing a little bit earlier.
But anyway,
Mike mixes his drinks. He's going he's going hardcore here. There's apple juice and his Diet Coke.
Apple and cherry, boy, what concoction that is. Quite tasty.
Okay, beardless man.
I'm freaking Patrick up
just a little bit.
Whole episode.
Okay. Now, as the story goes, in the winter, I just blew my promise from earlier. In the winter of 1957, a Harley Andrew Bird. I am going to be reading from reference material here now, just to get us going.
I think I'm actually on the same page you are.
Oh, okay, good. A Harley Andrew Bird, nephew to then Rear Admiral Richard R.E. Byrd of the United States Navy, also worked for the Department of Defense, and apparently was also assigned to the Project Blue Book that we're all familiar with. That's another story down the road altogether. Got a harried and panicked call from the police. I can't speak. From the police department in Alexandria, Virginia. Now, according to Harley Bird, two policemen reported that they had seen a UFO had actually landed in a field. So not crash landed, but landed. And that a tall man dressed in white had then emerged from the craft, claiming to be from, quote unquote, the High Council, calling himself Valiant Thor. Now, just as a brief aside, Bridge and I were talking about this yesterday because I was like, what the hell is the name of that guy? That guy that supposedly was working with the Pentagon, that alien years and years ago. And we were both trying to pull it and we couldn't. And then she looked it up and kind of quizzed me on it. And I eventually got it. And I was like, oh, that's right, Valiant Thor. And I said, what a cool ass name. I mean, that's a cool name, man.
It's a cool name and he's quite a handsome, fetching man.
Well, supposedly.
With quite a name.
It almost sounds like you got your beautiful Buddy Rogers or your ravishing Rick Rude wrestlers, and you have your Valiant Thor, back in the day.
Yeah, he comes out in a gorgeous George outfit, pretty much, probably. Yeah, Valiant Thor.
I think I mixed them up. What was Buddy Rogers' nickname? It wasn't. I think he was
Oh,
I
geez.
think he was the original Nature Boy. I think he was the original Nature Boy, Buddy Rogers. That Ric Flair took the moniker the Nature Boy afterwards. So, all right, moving on and upwards here. Mike's frozen, so I'm going to talk a little bit. Calling himself Valiant Thor, this being was then purportedly picked up and taken to the Pentagon, where he was introduced to the Under Secretary of Defense as well as Secretary of Defense Neil H. McElroy, and then given VIP status and hurried off to see the President of the United States himself, Dwight D. Eisenhower, as well as the Vice President at the time, Richard Nixon. Now, according to Bird, Valiant Thor was from Venus. Spent some time. I think I am being overtaken by Valiant Thor's spirit. I don't know what's happening there.
Either that or it's charming good looks.
Now, speaking of charming good looks, Mike's hairless right now. So, now, according to, as I start over again, according to Bird, Valiant Thor was from Venus and spent some amount of time at the Pentagon speaking to the president about the world's problems. Bird would then go on to say, I'm going to quote Mr. Bird, Commander James was on duty at the security clearance and review for the branch officer of the Project Blue Book. He oversaw the meeting through official channels and reported the landing and meeting of the quote-unquote space emissary, as he was labeled by the Department of Defense, to a governing group of high military officials, including Secretary of Defense F.F. Forstall and other scientific men, of which there were 12.
And these are big, top name people. I mean, this is, yeah.
No, absolutely.
I mean, besides the president and the, I want to talk about the vice president, but you know what I mean.
Now, they in turn made recommendations to the president and cabinet members, the CIA, FBI, NSA, and so on. The landing of Valiant Thor was perhaps the first documented landing of a human-type alien by military officials. He contacted an individual in the Pentagon who was an advocate of the UFO alien situation. Now, a quote, Nancy Warren, not sure why that name is in quotation marks, in turn contacted a minister who was also a private investigator and theologian. Theologian? Good God, I can't talk. Theologian! A Dr. Frank E. I'm going to do a hell of a lot of editing for this episode, that's for sure. A Dr. Frank E. Strongest. Now, it looks like it's spelled like stranges, with a strange with an S.
It did look like that, yep.
Who then met with this individual. Dr. Strangest, or Strongest, had been a guest speaker at the National Evangelistic Center for 2 weeks. Now, just before we go on any further, this is according to journalnews.com.ph. Let's give the proper credit here for this article. And spinning all the way back to the original question, Mike, when did you first hear about this alleged character? I don't know if you ever answered.
Well, I said it probably was in the 80s, I would imagine, sometime.
Now, do you remember if it was like a
late 80s?
This wasn't like an in search of topic. I don't think it was, but was it on some sort of program like that?
Yeah, no, I don't remember. I really don't remember. I could have read it somewhere.
It's tough to remember.
I was reading a lot of books about these things back then in the 80s and that, and reading a lot. And it probably came up in a book.
I think next time I'll put Mike on the spot and I'll say, Mike, tell us your first memory of your very first words spoken. Who were you talking to? What did you mean? What did it mean to you? I mean, my God, I ask too much of you sometimes. Mike's actually thinking about that.
Yeah. No, I would not remember that.
Oh, come on now. Good God. Without your facial hair and you're putting those fake teeth in, I don't think so. That's terrifying. That's a screenshot. Stop it. Good Lord. I am not continuing until you remove those teeth.
You didn't take a screenshot of that?
No, I did not.
That's good.
That is nightmare material. Holy Toledo. Yeah.
So anyway,
our terminal episodes are kind of off the cuff. They're a little bit more wacky than the standard podcast, which is kind of saying quite a bit. A little off the cuff.
Still quite informative because we have to put out that kind of information.
Oh, absolutely.
Opinion.
Now, Val, as we call him, Valiant Thor landed in Alexandria and met with the president to discuss the world's problems and offer advice and counsel on how to deal with and eliminate them. He indicated to President Eisenhower that the world was in a precarious situation, and if the world continued to proceed on a war footing, it would cause an economic imbalance throughout the world. Valiant Thor indicated that his race of people lived and dwelled underground, and that many of the planets throughout the universe sustain life in the same manner. Now, there's a lot of questions there. Well, what manner? What do you mean you sustain life by living underground? How does that work? He also mentioned the waves of aliens who would land around the world to help with the Earth's seemingly insurmountable problems. He stated that a group from a distant planetary system would be coming to give aid and data to help the Earth's progress. Now, this article does share an alleged photo of Valiant Thor, who just looks like a dude.
Yeah, well, and that's what I was wondering about when. Okay, so he said that they live underground.
Yeah,
and supposedly, I would imagine that this has been something for many generations. However long this
right.
These Venusians have existed. Well, first of all, you need to take the composition of Venus. Can it support life? I mean, this is a human being that is obviously breathing.
Well, is he, Mike?
Is he? Yeah, that's very true.
Is this some sort of disguise?
It's a something that appearing to us as we would expect or be able to handle.
Right.
He could be made out of a gaseous material himself.
Well, that's true.
That's made out of pure energy as well, and he can form himself into whatever he wants. But
there are stories. I think we covered one crazy alien story a while back. There are alleged witnesses. Well, I shouldn't say alleged witnesses. Witnesses with alleged accounts where they claim to have seen, not the alien beings themselves, but the construct that they are within. The for lack of a better term, a suit, of some sort that allows them to live on this earth, in this different atmosphere. So perhaps this Valiant Thor, this human appearance, is actually a protective suit of some sort.
Well, kind of like the movie Cocoon when they unzip themselves and just light comes out.
So are you saying Valiant Thor is Don Amici?
Yeah, there you go. Brian Dennehy,
Steve Gutenberg for the younger generation.
Valiant / Brian Dennehy.
I want to know how many of our listeners know the reference Don Amici.
Oh God, I knew Don Amici before even what was it, Trading Places or whatever it was.
I love that. Yeah.
I love that movie. Yeah. He has been an actor since a young man in old movies.
Yeah. No,
absolutely. And Ralph Bellamy, the same thing.
Good. Yeah. Legendary actors for sure.
His partner. And yeah.
Help me with this memory, Mike, because I know I was called out that same night by a new listener, very appreciated listener, Angela Don. I think I've called her out, 3 times now because she pointed out to me when I said, no one knows who the hell I'm talking about. And she's like, hello, I know exactly who you're talking about. I don't remember who that was, but
yeah,
it's all good.
Yeah, she did. She did call you out.
Now, it gets weirder and weirder. Vice President Richard Nixon was apparently fascinated by Val. And this is an alleged quote from Mr. Nixon himself. So you want to believe what Mr. Nixon has to say? That's totally up to you. Anyhow,
you won't have Tricky Dick to push around anymore.
He wasn't a crook. He was not a crook. This is an alleged quote from Mr. Nixon. Now, again, if you can picture his voice,
yeah,
just try and play that in your head.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
I remember it well.
I can't read this without trying to do his damn voice. Okay. You have certainly caused a stir. That was terrible. That's from an out-of-towner. Of course, we are not totally convinced of anything just yet. But suffice it to say, we are checking and double-checking everything you say and do. When Sergeant Young from Alexandria radioed in and stated that you had just landed in a flying saucer, we thought Sergeant Young had flipped. Say, were you in on that UFO flap over Washington? You certainly had us all in a dither if you were.
A dither.
Yeah.
You have us in a dither with this LSD trip you've been on.
Right, exactly. Well, those are age-appropriate terms. They're dither. You don't hear that often anymore.
Oh, yeah. LSD. Well, the government was doing big testing with that back in the day. Anyway.
That's very true. Yeah, talk about a controversial supposed occurrence. Awful stuff. Now, author Frank E. Strongs, however the hell you pronounce his name.
Strang.
He claimed to have had a personal meeting with the entity and give much information of these interactions between Valiant Thor and the government in his book on the matter, the 1967 Stranger at the Pentagon. I'm going to go also into depth about the aliens' appearance and behaviors. The author said that Val looked like a perfectly normal human being, except that he had 6 fingers on each hand and could live for 500 years. He's the 6-fingered man from The Princess Bride. My God,
that's right.
Christopher.
Well,
who is
he
it?
gets around.
First he's Don Amici, and now he's Christopher Guest. Wow.
I don't know, which one would you rather be? Christopher Guest.
Christopher
probably.
Guest. Yeah, Christopher Guest, because he's still alive.
He'd be much more funny too.
Now, not only
But
did
Don
they live
Amici
for,
was a very talented.
Oh, sure.
Big talent. Anyway, go ahead.
not only did they have 6 fingers on each hand and could live for 500 years, but it also turned out that he wasn't alone, having actually arrived with 3 companions. Maybe they were married. I don't know. Called Don, Jill, and Tanya. Val supposedly told
Ingrid,
him...
huh?
No Ingrid, sorry. Or Ingrid, anything. No Ingrid Bergman, nothing like that. Now, Val supposedly told him that they had been watching humanity closely since the atomic bombs in World War II and sought to begin a new era in knowledge, wisdom, and understanding on our planet. Curiously, Strongs would also claim that Valiant Thor had deep interest in Christianity, even going as far as to say that Jesus was in fact an alien from outer space and had spread his word across the galaxy. That's something that we've kind of talked about before as well. Very, very touchy, very controversial idea, notion that Jesus was in fact not of this earth physically. There are a lot who say that he wasn't anyhow.
Divinity.
Divine. There you go. Thank you.
I got a question here.
Yeah, before I finish here, please throw out your question.
Okay, so you have seen this picture of Valiant Thor.
Yeah, there's several.
Is it okay? Have you seen the one where he's sitting with a dark suit, white shirt? He's kind of looking over his left shoulder, and you can see his right hand in front of his suit.
I wish I had that on my phone to pull up right now.
And I see 5 fingers.
Well, that debunks it right there, doesn't it? Now, there's also there's a picture that claims to be of Valiant Thor, and it's a totally different person.
Really?
The majority of these pictures of this Valiant Thor are of a kind of suave-looking gentleman with dark hair. Dark hair
that's
is
what
the
I'm
main
looking
thing.
at right now.
You know, kind of a prominent nose. But then there's also another picture where the man is blonde. Well, it's black and white picture, so it's either blonde or extremely gray or white.
Yes, I have seen that. It's a more rugged-looking man.
Very. Kind of like a crew cut, very...
Yep.
So it's like, well, what is it here, bubs? Now, the author, Frankie Strongs, I already read that part, had a meeting, yada, yada, yada. Jesus, all the good stuff. Also told him that his purpose in coming was to help mankind return to the Lord. He spoke in positive terms, always with a smile on his face. He said that man was further away from God than ever before, but there was still a good chance if man looks in the right place. Now, apparently, Valiant Thor actually stayed and worked in the Pentagon for 3 damn years before he basically just disappeared, or as it is written here, dematerializing in 1960 to return to his home planet. That's the gist of the story. That is the gist of the story of Valiant Thor. Now it's time for the fun stuff. I do have my professional notes written down here, by the way.
I think that Frank E. Strangus. I think it's Strangus.
I know, but I want to say Strongs all the time. But we'll go with Strangus.
Do you ever watch Impractical Jokers?
No, I do not.
They have this one part on there where they sit behind the desk, one of them, and these people out in the waiting room on the other side of this desk, or it's like they're waiting to go see somebody, and they have this list of names that they have to read off, like they're calling somebody from this crowd to go back and talk to whoever they're supposed to talk to. But it's all names that the other guys have made up. And one of them was Strangus McBasketball.
Oh, for gosh sakes.
Something like that. and that's just the way it looked there. It's Strangus.
Oh, well, thank you for that tidbit.
Yeah, but you should see that. It's funny. Very funny. The names they come up with. But just a side point.
I am writing that down. Impractical Jokers / nothing to do with the topic at hand. Okay.
No. But they have some great stuff with Gary Busey on their show.
Oh, and Mike loves Gary
couple
Busey.
Episodes. I think he'd be so great for a retro and random.
That's probably someone he'd probably be willing to do that.
Oh, hell yeah. Get the spiritual philosophy of Gary Busey.
I can picture the image right now for the episode, just his teeth. Right.
Anyway.
Now, like I said, we gave you a basic rundown of the story of Valiant Thor. Venetian emissary, did he work with the Pentagon? Was he here for, positivity? Was he trying to help us out? Was he trying to prevent mankind from destroying itself? Or, Mike, is there a possibility? Is there a possibility? We don't know. We're going to go off the rails here a little bit. As depicted in American Horror Story a couple seasons ago.
Yeah, I want to hear about that.
In their, and I'll say this very briefly because we're running out of time here. Their season, half their season was broken down into, it's fiction, but it's based on this Valiant Thor, essentially. It's based on the idea of aliens creating alien-human hybrids and taking over the planet. Any chance in hell that this Valiant Thor, we don't know, instead of being here to spread positivity and to save humankind, was in fact here for very nefarious, antagonistic, downright evil reasons, I should say. They depicted in the show that, and I might have mentioned this before, that upon arrival and, basically showing their brute strength, the dangers of disagreeing with them, he got President Eisenhower to agree to allow them to abduct, kidnap, I believe up to 10,000 humans in exchange for technology, which was suggested in the show back in 1957, was actually the blueprint for the iPhone, and so on and so forth. And Eisenhower, depicted in the show, he reluctantly agreed. And it went off the rails. It went to the part where Lady Eisenhower was having an affair with Valiant Thor, and she was part of it. She was part of the subterfuge.
As long as it wasn't Mamie Eisenhower. Right?
No,
yes.
Well, you know who we're talking about here, I think, Mike. Yes.
I'm just kidding.
It was, it's bizarre, but that's what American Horror Story is all about. On a total side note, I totally prefer the first 5 or 6 seasons of American Horror Story. Really gone off the rails in the last 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 975,000 years. But any hoozle. Mike, if you buy into this, and we're not revealing our yay or nay yet, if you buy into this, do you think that Valiant Thor was here for positive reasons or here to basically take over mankind and create this alien-human hybrid to save their species?
Well, the thing is if they were here to do the alien hybrid project, which to me, if that is going on, that started long before
Yeah, that's a good point.
Valiant Thor.
Sure.
I believe. If he wanted to destroy us, if he was like came here to destroy us or to just pre-look over everything before the invading armada comes.
Oh, sure. Gotcha. Yeah.
I don't believe that either, because it never happened. And if they're so mighty, if they wanted to do it, they would have, which is a theory about any alien species that we have.
Right.
So
no, those are good points. Good points.
And if he was here for reasons of wanting to help or to save mankind by, having so many humans that they can abduct for this research in this alien hybrid program, his purpose, if that was his purpose, I could believe that, because that stuff is still possibly going on and did happen since then.
Now, one thing that all valid points, Mike. All valid points on Valiant Thor. One thing that immediately jumps out to me is, how did this nephew, this Harry Barley or whatever the hell is Harley Bird, Harley Bird. He says he's the nephew, or well, he didn't say it. He is a nephew of this Rear Admiral of the Navy, a guy who was working for the Department of Defense and was assigned to Project Blue Book. Is that something that was just kind of, oh, whoopsie, I heard Uncle Richard talking about this. I overheard him, and now I know, and so I'm going to leak this secret? Or is it just a bunch of hogwash that this Harley Bird just wants to get his name out there?
See, those are all things that you really need to dig into, because, if there's like this top secret information that this bird has, nobody is going to hear him talking about it or overhear him talking about it to somebody. I mean, it's going to be more covered up and classified than that. Yeah. Especially if you're, whatever, was he an admiral or something like that? Or
Rear Admiral.
Yeah, Admiral Byrd. I mean, big name there.
And I wrote this down just because, I don't want to forget it either, but I wrote down, I said, similar to case of Roswell witness, supposedly sharing his story with the family. And well, I'm talking about Major Jesse Marcel, who was the first on the scene of the Roswell crash, who he initially said that what he discovered was not of this earth, right? Wasn't that his quote? Mm-hmm. But then he immediately retracted that and then was told to say what we all know they eventually said. And as, down the road we go, year after year after year, it's revealed that he had the diary. He was keeping this diary that his family has, and they were, I can't remember if it was a television show I saw it on or if it was an article I was reading, but I believe it was a CIA investigator who was looking into this. Anyways, this diary by Major Marcel, around the exact time, it looked like a military handbook of sort, and around the time of the Roswell crash, all of a sudden, all of the entries in this diary were written in a manner overtly different from all the entries before the Roswell occurrence and all the entries like after. As if maybe perhaps another hand was literally writing those notes, or was Major Marcel under such stress, under such scrutiny that, unwittingly his handwriting was completely different. It's interesting to think about. It's, what type of pressure was he under? And it's like, is the same pressure over this Harley Bird? Was he just dying to get the information out there? But how would he get the information if his dad was working on Project Blue Book? Was it a slip of the tongue saying, hey, come over here, nephew, I got a story to tell you? Yeah,
there's a lot of questions there, because I think it's not very likely that somebody in a high command is going to take their top secret privileges lightly.
Amen.
They are, I had a secret clearance, which I knew basically means I knew nothing, but I could pick up secret messages from one place and deliver them to another, or make sure, things like that. But that doesn't mean that I knew anything. But, you got a top secret clearance and you're in this high level capacity. You're going to take that seriously. You're not going to mess that up unless you're on your deathbed, like, people have done.
Very true. Mike, it's that time, man. It's time to wrap it up. We gave you a very, very brief rundown of, well, it's kind of a very brief story. We got to call it from what you feel, from your heart of hearts, from your years of research, your abundant knowledge of all things alien.
Yeah. Well.
Yay or nay, Mike? No shades of gray. The story of Valiant Thor. What say you, sir?
Well, I'd like to put caveats on these things at times.
Yes.
And I hate to do that because I don't think it should be allowed.
No, it
But,
shouldn't be, because there's a reason we call it yay or nay, no shades of gray. There's no straddling the paranormal, in this case, alien fence here.
Well, it's yay or nay, no shades of gray, or caveats then, period.
Fine. I'll add that on to the
Okay.
the next-
Anyway,
next
oh
episode.
my God. Okay.
These are always painful for Mike.
With an explanation, I can put a little bit of an explanation on it.
Oh, of course you can.
Okay. So, as we talked about earlier, all things come from some grain of knowledge, grain of truth. I think that this did happen. I'm yaying on this, but, and I'm not calling this a caveat. This is my explanation. Well, it's kind of a caveat, but anyway.
Are you using the word caveat correctly?
I don't know.
Let's save Mike here. I'm going to look up caveat.
It's probably
I mean, I thought I could have used it wrong all the time as well. Okay, caveat, Mike, is a warning or proviso of specific stipulations, conditions, or limitations. And the examples set here are: there are a number of caveats which concern the validity of the assessment results. I'm not sure.
yeah.
Oh well.
Yeah.
Well, you can use it if you want.
It's kind of going in, but going in the other direction. Maybe, I don't know.
But you were saying.
See, I lose track so quick when you.
Well, you said yay. You said, as far as it
I
being
did
like
say yes,
based
yes.
on a kernel of truth, you said yay.
Yes. Okay. So yes, something did happen, but the level that it went to and the details that are in there, I think a lot of them are embellished. There's a lot, there's just so many parts of this that can go in so many directions and be thrown in at different times. As the story grows or goes on, but I think it did start with something that did happen, and we just don't know the whole information or ins and outs of it because it is top secret, and very little, I think, would have been exposed unless somebody deliberately did it, not caring what happened, to get the story out. But since there wasn't information, people start thinking things, speculating, making things up. And then it goes to, the 3 co-pilots, and one of them's Indra Cold, but that's in another story. So that's another thing that was thrown in there, possibly.
And as I read, they were all married, apparently.
Exactly. Yeah. So
I meant to say arrived, but I said they married. Anyways, go ahead.
Yeah. So anyway, yes, I say yay, but with a lot of
so a yay with
embellishment on their story.
a yay with an asterisk by it. Asterisk by it. Maybe?
Yeah, and it's not a shade of gray because I am still saying yes, it did happen, but not totally as depicted.
Well, shockingly, I have to give it a big fat nay, but I have
Shockingly.
I have sorry for not building up the suspense there, boys and girls. I have an asterisk next to mine as well.
Okay.
Just because, as we mentioned earlier, every legend is born out of some kernel of truth.
Right.
And then we add the human embellishments. We add the human elaborations, the human exaggerations, yada, yada, yada. We have all of that. But also the possibility, as we mentioned earlier, Mike, that perhaps this is all part of a big ruse where they are making it so absurd that we tend to ignore it then. We tend to, it's like feeding us with all the disinformation out there. Mike. It's like we keep embellishing this wacky story to make it sound even less and less believable. Well, guess what? It's going to be less and less believable. Was there interaction between the White House, the Pentagon, and an alien species? I definitely think that that is possible. Absolutely 100% I believe that is possible. Was it the Eisenhower administration? I don't know. I have to say nay about this particular case, but with the little asterisk. I can't say that word today. With that thing, asterisk next to it, just with the idea of it being embellished on purpose to make people like me say nay. Does that make sense?
Yeah, sure it does. Yeah.
Okay.
Absolutely.
Well, there you go.
Disinformation. I mean, there's so, the government and whoever else the powers that be are, they have a lot of things up their sleeves that they can pull out at any time.
They got it up somewhere, that's for sure. Well, Mike, this has been cool.
They got it up somewhere.
I thought you missed that. Thank you for catching that one.
Yeah.
It was thanks for joining me, Mike. This was a blast in our return to our terminal series. We need to do these more often. Yet again, Mike says yay. Yet again, I say nay. But we both have asterisks next to our final decisions. So I guess it's a really blurry shade of gray, kind of.
Yeah.
But not really. Not really. Well, Mike, we have a Patreon episode to dive into. We are returning to the Patreon exclusive contents as well. We just released the season 2 premiere of Retro and Randoms, our other pop culture podcast. You guys need to check them out. Check it out. Season 1 is now available on YouTube and everywhere you find your favorite podcasts. And it's growing by leaps and bounds. Tell your friends. It's a total 180 from what we do here. We have a good time. We have a lot of ideas in our little noggins for season 2 topics. Mike,
my brain is the size of a walnut.
Well, you said it. I didn't say anything like that.
I know.
I'm still distracted by your hairless face.
Yeah, me too. But if you were to run your fingers on my cheek, you would feel that there's whiskers there.
What a great way to end the podcast. Oh my Lord. Okay. Well, we have a good topic for our return to our Patreon exclusive episodes. Yes, we're talking about the great paranormal fiasco, Trouble in Paranormal Paradise. Yeah, there's some shit going down in the world of paranormal programming that we have a lot of opinions and takes to share with our awesome Patreon subscribers. You can join for as little as $1 a month. If you don't like it, you can get on out of there. Lots of cool content over there. We think it'd be worth it. Tons and tons and tons of Patreon exclusive episodes. A shit ton. Yeah, I'm actually swearing on that. A shit ton of our own paranormal investigations, both audio and video, and some fun, silly stuff. It's really, we think it's worth checking out. Mike, until next time, my friend, what do our awesome fellow zoners need to do?
Peace out, baby.